This episode is brought to you by Hades, where the real ufology stuff goes down. Cue the music.
Thank you, Evil Manny Moonraker, for that great intro, because it's true, because it seems that ufology is going to hell in a handbasket. So I guess that's where we need to look to get the real answers, because we're not getting them up here. And really all we're seeing is a bunch of rubber dickers just going to war with each other, just smacking that stuff, having all these cockfights and stuff. But I digress, because before we get into the madness for today, let's talk about what's happening with the rubber dickies. That contest where you get to go in and vote for the rubber dicker of the year. The rubber dickies are heating up in the worst way. We have a new person in number one. And I keep telling you guys, go to UFOBusterRadio.com. If you're using a PC, right side, there is a poll for you to answer. Pick up the 3 rubber dickers and roll the dice and see which one of them is going to end up being the winner. The voting will close on December the 15th. And on December the 16th, we are going to announce the first ever winner of the 2017 rubber dickies. That rubber dicker is going to get an award in the mail from yours truly and you guys, because we appreciate all the rubber dicking they do. Now, I can tell you this much, just so that you realize which rubber dicker is in the first spot right now, only by 1 vote. It is the one that's sitting behind bars, the one and only Stan Romanek. I don't think it'll be a problem to get that award to him. As a matter of fact, he might put it in his cell, buff it up real nice, make it look good. Hopefully not good enough to where it shines or reflects what's behind him, because he might want to forget that. But I digress, because we are going to continue, because we've got some crazy stories today. One of them has to do with someone that we learned about back in episode 101. Unbeknownst to you guys, I stay in touch with this person because she sends me information. And I am talking about the 2 ladies out of the Czech Republic, Ilona and Ivana. And just to refresh you on the story, we had Brett Collins Shepard on here. And Brett was the one who translated their text, basically telling the story of the messages they've been receiving from another dimension from an EBE by the name of Ollie. Well, ever since that interview, I've stayed in touch with Ilona, and she sends me messages all the time. As a matter of fact, they pretty much do the mediumship with Ollie once a week almost. And she'll send that information out. It takes her time to get it together because, again, her English is not very good, so she has to translate all of that. But she will send it out in a PDF form. But what really struck me, what was really crazy, was that Ilona actually reached out to someone on Stephen Greer's camp. Now, why in the hell would she do that, you would ask? Because some of you voted for Stephen Greer as a rubber dicker. The reason why she did that is because she wanted to find out if there possibly could be in the future a translation of Unacknowledged, the book, into her language. The Baltic language, Czech. Of course, she happened to reach the producer of the film, Ricky Butterfass. And honestly, Ricky, I'm sorry. At first I thought it was Ricky Butterass, but there's an F in there. I didn't notice that at first. So it's Ricky Butterfass, not Butterass. And so Ricky said, hey, you know what? Initially he said, we'll see what we can do. We'll get the info to people and see if we can get that translated into your preferred language and see if we can make it happen. Well, I guess somewhere along the way, he found out about Ilona and Ivana's story. And apparently Ricky is not a fan about the whole being able to use mediumship to contact an ET from another dimension on a regular basis. Now, this is one of those situations where you stop and you think, isn't this the pot calling the kettle black? But it gets worse. Because he straight up said, and I'm going to quote this here for you so that way you know, there's a couple of things he said. The first thing he said is, "Hi, Ilona." This is from his message. He says, "The short grays are not abducting anyone. No extraterrestrials are involved in alien abductions. All the abductions and implants are being done by humans. It's not acknowledged, of course, because, he's got to blow up his little project." He said, "It's not acknowledged." There was a reference to special access projects. And he says that these are all hoaxes as they revealed in the documentary because they know it all. They've got the drop on everyone else, kind of like, the SCU, kind of like Tom DeLonge and his cronies, Stephen Greer's and his boys. They've got the answer. And he says, by the way, it's also written in the book that this is all a bunch of bullshit. That human beings are the ones that are abducting people and making them think that they're being taken away by ET. It continues to go on saying that ET is peaceful. They love the earth. This is not a Star Wars thing that's going on in the cosmos, but more that there is a disinformation campaign to have people believe this along with demons. I didn't see that and not acknowledge or any of the documentaries that Stephen Greer has put out, but apparently Mr. Butterfast thinks that there are demons involved in the ET situation as well. Here's a kicker for you guys who love Stephen Greer and might be interested in someone that can channel an alien. He says that Stephen Greer will not get involved with people who spread disinformation or testimonies that cannot be vetted or confirmed and made valid. According to him, channeling and remote viewing are considered to be, by them, the Greer crew, as imagination, unless ET makes confirmation by arriving on site during a CE5, that's where they invoke aliens, doing a CE5 fully materialized and in a structured spacecraft with physical communication via light signals and interaction with our field equipment and instruments to confirm with witness confirmation, making the contact valid, and blah, 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 blah. He goes on. I mean, geez Louise, guys. Dude, can you use a fucking period or comma somewhere? This is ridiculous. Anyway, the last thing he says is they need scientific evidence because the people in the scientific community don't give a shit about people channeling aliens. But you can go to a beach for like $1,500 to $2,000 a pop, and you can sit there and see flares and make believe that you are channeling aliens, right? Because I thought that in those videos, it seemed to me that Greer was implying that they were channeling the aliens, and that's how they were communicating with them. Maybe it's me, but is this not really the pot calling the kettle black? And according to him, people in the scientific community are not going to accept a medium saying that she's contacting an ET. The best thing about this, the part that kills me, because this woman does not have a good grasp of the English language, but her response to him is, "I don't even know if you're real, asshole." I kind of added that just for effect because I know she's not able to do that, but I'm sure in her language she did think that while she was typing that message to him. And it's true. Who the fuck is he? I'm just saying. Anyway, this story gets a little bit crazier here because it turns out that Mr. Butterfast apparently had an incident during one of those CE5 situations on the side of a mountain, which he shared with her along with a photo. The photo, I'm going to use it as the cover art for this podcast. So if you're looking at the podcast and you see what looks to be an alien, that was sent by Mr. Butterfast as proof that someone took a picture of an alien entity during a CE5 situation. So here's the deal with his personal experience at a CE5. And of course, he starts this whole thing talking about the quote-unquote cabal that Stephen Greer has come to admire and place in every single one of everything that he documents when it comes to this situation. So he starts off, "Hi Ilona, E.T. did not place influence into people. We know that the secret cabal does. The cabal are human earth people." Let me just stop there for a second. Why would you need to, act like you're an alien to ram a probe up someone's ass? I don't understand that. And I'm not saying that I condone this in any way, but come on, really? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? This is 2017. For real, Cosby has been doing that for decades, and nobody's saying that, that Cosby was part of a secret cabal to, drug women to have his way with them. No, this makes no sense. Look at Harvey Weinstein. Come on, is he part of a secret cabal to, make people think that UFOs? He's just a nasty guy, and so is Bill Cosby. So why do we need a secret cabal to make people think that aliens are the ones who are basically probing people and taking them away and drugging them up or what have you? Sounds like a bunch of shit to me. For you people who are fans of the CE5, he said this. He said that apparently that during one of these CE5 situations, they came down and they actually did some work on his heart. He said while he was dressed in full ski clothing, sitting on a camp chair with 50 other people, even Stephen Greer was sitting next to him, he added. He said that there was a trans-dimensional phase shift with their technology, and it went into his heart and cleared out all of his arteries. He says that when they experienced this, there was a high energy download through all of their bodies that made their heartbeats race to 108 beats per minute. And to add insult to injury, he says also that the ET craft landed about half a kilometer away and it was pulsating, and that they have a video of this that anyone can see it. I haven't seen the video. I don't know if you guys have. If you have, send me the link. We can check it out. But I do have the picture because after that, E.T. decided to make an appearance and say, "Hey, I fixed your heart." But anyway, he says he took a picture of this, and like I said, it is a cover art for this podcast. I'm going to post a picture also in UBR Truth Seekers, so you can see what Ricky Butterass sent us. Well, he didn't send us. He probably doesn't even know that this is going to get around. Because listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. If he says that there was some kind of trans-dimensional shift, why can't these ladies over in the Czech Republic do a trans-dimensional mediumship and contact their EBE? What makes Stephen Greer, the reptilian man, any better at contacting ETs than they are? What if none of them are contacting anybody? What if they're all contacting demons? I'm sorry, but this is crazy, and this brings me to what I like to say all the time. You can't write this shit. You cannot write this at all. It's crazy. It's unbelievable. But if you want to see the picture, check out UBR Truth Seekers. And maybe, just maybe today, I'll tweet it out also. So follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and also Twitter, so you can check out this picture because it is quite unusual.
Coming to you from the hills of Texas right here, UFO Buster Radio is now on the air. You can visit Manny and Big O at UFOBusterRadio.com. That's right, this is Bubba Doohickey saying, boys, squeal like a pig. Oink, oink, oink.
Okay, enough of the rubber dickery. Let's get down to someone, a man of God, as you see in this title for this podcast. There was an article, actually there's been several articles written about this guy over the years, but he's got a book coming out, so there's a little bit more right now. The article that we're looking at is titled God Made Aliens, Shock Theory that UFOs are sent by our Creator. Take a moment to digest that. But the guy's name is Reverend Barry Downing, and he claims that many of the biblical events in the Bible may have involved individuals from 4.2 far, meaning UFOs and ETs. So Downing is a pastor emeritus of the Northminster Presbyterian Church in Endwell, New York. He penned a book titled The Bible and Flying Saucers, which apparently is basically his argument that some of the things that you read in the Bible could be and may well be ET. Now, the reason why we're seeing a lot of the Reverend's name being shot around the interwebs is because apparently he penned a new version, an updated version of the book. It's called Biblical UFO Revelations. And in that, he continues to say that maybe things like what happened in Exodus, the fiery ship in the sky, and what the burning bush, that these could have all been caused by alien visitors. And there's a quote by him in the article. It says, "I believe UFOs are God's way of saying, to our godless culture, I'm back. And if God is back, it is time to repent and be glad that the world lives under the umbrella of God's love with his angels looking over us." So I guess translating that without reading the book, he thinks UFOs and ETs are aliens. He thinks that aliens and ETs are angels looking over us from God. He then says that the church has the eyes to see, to open the church doors, to welcome our UFO strangers, or we will continue to be unaware. He says from his point of view, what we have here in the skies is part of a divine mission. Listen, Rev, there's a lot of people out there who complain about being abducted and being probed. I don't think that that's very divine from their perspective. But then, if Stephen Greer read your book, he'd probably have you on the next video. Because ETs are all benevolent. They are kind. They are loving. They don't probe anything. They don't take cows and mutilate them. They are just heavenly, beautiful creatures that remove built-up cholesterol from clogged-up hearts. What's really fascinating about what he's saying basically is the way that he looks at this is that he has a strong belief in his faith, right? So he has a strong conviction there. But he also says this. He says, I believe by faith in the same way I believe in the resurrection of Jesus. By faith, I believe in the reports of UFOs. He says the only difference between UFOs and the resurrection is that he can actually, interview witnesses now about the UFOs. He really can't go back and find out if anybody was there during the time of the resurrection. So he's totally on faith there. So listen, there's more information in the article. The link is in the description as always. Check it out, read it. There's a bit more. And actually, like I said, if you search his name, because his book is coming out, there's a bunch of articles everywhere. There's even an article from a newspaper in his hometown that goes into a little bit more information than what we have in the article here in the podcast description. But as always, I thank you guys for listening. Thank you for joining me today for this madness. And like I always say, no matter what side of the rubber dicking you're on, let's all just try to get along. We all have different theories, different opinions, but you can't go around shitting on other people just because they have broken English and you have the lizard man on your side. With that said, sayonara, peace out, goodbye.